Hello and welcome to another episode. In today's episode, I am going to be explaining what is a built-in object in JavaScript. But before we get started, if you're new to my channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, everybody, so to get started in today's episode, I need you to open the same website that we have been using so far to code, and also I need you to open MDN. Now, on MDN, when you open it up, you go to the search box right here, and all you have to do is type in standard built-in objects because we're going to be taking a look at this today. And I have another website here open with also MDN, which is going to cover the console, but I'm going to explain that in a moment. So for now, just open the standard built-in objects and have the same website that we have been using on open as well. And of course, the code that we have been coding right with. So what I am going to do is clear out all my code. Let me just go ahead and clear everything out. Save this information. Let's clean the console. Perfect. So we have cleaned the console. We have a code empty. Okay, everybody, so the first thing that you need to know is what is a built-in object. And a built-in object in JavaScript is an object that is included as part of the core language specification, and it's available for use without requiring any additional code or any additional libraries. In definition, a built-in object is an object that was already built in or created in the core language of JavaScript. For now, just know that built-in objects are something that already come in with the JavaScript language and that are there available for you whenever you need them. So this is something that was already coded within the core language of JavaScript and that you don't have to make up because they were already built in. That's why they call built-in objects. Now, built-in objects can come in a wide variety. We have built-in objects for strings, for numbers, we have built-in objects for dates, etc. And we're going to cover most of them in this course. Of course, we cannot cover all of them because then this course will never end, but I'll give you the most useful ones. Now, in this chapter, I just want you to focus to understand what is a built-in object and also what are the built-in methods that come in with that object itself. Okay, so let's go to our code and let me explain you what I'm talking about. What we are going to do right now is create, first of all, an object. Okay, so let's create an object. I'm going to call this object people. Okay, and then let's go ahead and open the curly brackets. At this point, you already know how to create an object because we already I already explained that in our previous episodes, but go ahead and do it, and you can even change the properties of this object if you want. But for now, I'll just keep it simple. I'll just call this people. The name will be, let's give it a name of John Smith. I'm going to make this a string, and I'm going to call it John Smith. Okay, just to keep it simple. Then I am going to create a profession for John Smith. And the profession for him, profession is going to be a software engineer. Okay, and I mean, you can change the values for these properties. Remember, they don't have to be exactly the same ones I am making. Just, be creative and do whatever you want. I'm going to give it an age, and this age is going to be a number, say 30 years old. And I am going to build a function inside of this object, which, remember, a function inside of an object is not called a function. It's called a method, right? So I'm going to say that the name of this function will be getInfo. And let's make it a function. Okay, and I'm going to keep it simple by using console.log for this function. In this function, I want to say console.log, and let's say this dot name. Okay, so we can say that this is talking about this property inside of this object. So this is referring to anything that is inside of the people object. So when I say this name, it's the name inside of this object itself. I already explained this in our previous episodes. If you don't remember, I recommend and I strongly suggest you to go ahead and go back into our previous episodes if it's not clear yet, so that you can so that you can be crystal clear. So we're going to console.log this name plus, um, let me open brackets here, and we are going to give it a space and say is a, and then another space, and then I'm going to add the addition operator, and then let's say this dot profession, which is going to give me the profession of this person, right? Of this people, which in this case is software engineer, right? And then I can say plus this age. Now it's going to give me, let's say, the person's age right here. And by the way, after profession, what I want to do, it's, let's say that I want to add here, um, who is just a word, right? And then we are going to use the H right there. And okay, let's say this H, and then we're going to add the addition operator again, and let's say years old. Okay, let's just make it that simple. I'm going to hit save. Now we have created our object, right? So this, the name people is the object itself, right? All this is the object. Now inside of the object, as you already know, we have properties, which is the name, right? The name, then we have the value of that property, which is John Smith, and it has different data types. In this case, this is a string, this is another string, this is a number. And then here we have a method inside of this object, because remember, it's not called a function inside. Function inside of an object is called a method. So we have a method in here. So this is a customized object because we have built the object right now into our code. Now, if I want to, let's say, go ahead and call, let's say, this object and call its method, then I will say people dot get info, and then I'll just use parentheses. Okay, and then I'm going to hit save. Now, when I hit refresh here, this should console.log the function that we created inside, the function for this object. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's hit refresh. And there you go. It says John Smith is a software engineer who is 30 years old, right? Because this is what we did into our function, right? We say, well, this function is going to console.log this people name, and then we're going to say is a this profession, yada yada yada, right? So that's what it's doing here. As you can see on the console, it's whenever we call that object and we use the method get info, then we have this result, right? So I'm just giving you this example because this is exactly what a built-in object is. A built-in object is simply, we can say that it's this portion right here, people, right? But not this people. It's objects that have been created already by the creator of JavaScript itself. So here we created an object. Now the object is people, and then we know that the method for this object is get info, because the get info is a function that is inside of the object, and a function inside of an object is called a method. So people is the object, and then dot get info, and the parentheses of it is the method. Okay, so for the JavaScript language itself, we have a whole bunch of built-in objects that we have not created that already come with the language, and those objects have a whole bunch of methods that, again, were already created, and we haven't done anything to let's say to build them, because they already come built in with the language itself. That's why they are called built-in objects and built-in methods, right? Now remember, this is just to give you the example and how they look like, let's say, in the back end from their code, but they're already available for you. And one of the best examples that I can give you of a built-in object which has its built-in methods is the console. I mean, when we use console, that log, and then we use this parentheses, right? The console itself is an object. It's a built-in object that already exists in JavaScript. And then the .log parentheses is a method which was created for this object itself, that we can use without having to code the console function, right? Without having to actually create the console object. Why? Because this console object was already come in with JavaScript. So this is a built-in object, and then that log is the built-in method for this built-in object. And I hope that makes sense to you. But if you still have doubts, remember that you always can leave me a comment or the question in the comment section below so that I can clarify your doubts. But yeah, that's what a built-in object and a built-in method is. It's pretty much something that was created already and comes in the JavaScript language that is accessible for us in order for us to use it whenever we're coding, and we want to do, really complex coding to build apps, features, or games or websites, whatever you want to build with JavaScript, right? So let me go back to MDN. And on MDN, you're going to open the standard built-in objects page that I talked about before. You can look for it in the search box. You can either put standard built-in objects, or you can simply put the word built, and then it'll give you the first article. So just click on the first one, and then you will see what are the standard built-in objects that you will have available for JavaScript. As you can see in the left-hand side of this article, you have a whole bunch of them. We have built-in objects for arrays. We have built-in objects for strings, for date. One of the most common built-in objects that we use is one that it's called math. This one right here, math. And if you click on it, it'll give you all the properties available for this built object. We have a property called E, another one called ln10. We have another property called log10e. So, I mean, there are a whole bunch of properties that already comes with the object called math in JavaScript. And we also have methods available for the math object. As you can see, some methods will include .apps, .cost, .a10. And one of the most common ones that are used when you are using the math built-in object is one called floor or random. So here is math.random, and then here's another one that it's math.floor. And I am going to get into this specific built-in object in later episodes, but for now I just want you to know that it's here available for you. You have some documentation that you can read through to know why this built-in object is used for. And you will see that we will use it when we are creating a game. So I mean, you can go ahead and actually read. This is just one of the built-in objects that JavaScript has available. Let's go back. You also have some others, as I said before. You have the array object, and the array object will give you, again, properties and built-in methods like prototype.add, concat, copy within, fill, filter. You name them. You can go ahead and you can check out this article and see how many built-in objects there are in JavaScript. Now, another thing that I that I also recommend you to do is type in on MDN just the word console like this. You can type in console and then just pick the first article that you'll find, and then here is going to give you brief description of the console object, which we have been using so far. The console object provides access to the browser debugging console, right, which is the web console that we have in here, this portion right there. And it can be accessed from any global object. I'm going to be talking about the object scopes in later episodes, but for now, I just want you to know what is a built-in object and the properties and methods available for those. So going back to the console, the built-in method that we have been using so far is this one, which is console.log. The log built-in method is the one that we have been using so far, but the console also has some other built-in methods. You can use console.clear, console.count. You can use console.debug. And again, just get into MDN and read a little bit more about the console and all the built-in methods that it has so that you can become more familiar with it, because this is one of the most important debugging tools that we have when we are coding in JavaScript. So I hope that this chapter was clear enough and that now you know what is a built-in object and that you are aware of what are the built-in methods that that object may have available for you. Okay, so I hope everything was super clear. Again, if you have questions, remember, just drop them in the comment section below and I will reply as soon as I can. And if you like this video, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up. That really helps me out. And well, remember that you can always ask Lixi. Bye everyone, and see you again in the next episode.